Here we go. Episode 44 of the Hardline Sports Talk. I am Michael Merlo. Alongside me, I have John Michael Masiri. JM, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. Not loving this cold weather. You know, that's a pain in the ass. But besides that, I'm living. How are you?
I'm great. I love the cold weather.
Oh yeah.
And
Psychotic.
we got a lot of baseball news, which is very exciting. The NFL is in full swing. The NFL, I think I said it last week, is drunk. I mean, there's not one team that wants to step up and say, "Oh, I'm the best team in the league. I'm the best team in this conference." So it's going to be very interesting. And I feel like the Super Bowl is just completely wide open. Best team in the league, completely wide open. We're going to get to that in a little bit because today we're going to start with baseball. Excuse me. And there's a lot of news. We're going to open up here with the fact that Noah Syndergaard shocked the world and did not accept the Mets qualifying offer for $18.4 million. He signed a one-year deal with the Angels worth $21 million. And according to an executive that Ken Rosenthal was talking to, said this is a ludicrous move. You know what? And as a Mets fan, I'm good riddance. I'm done. But I'm shocked.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I kind of agree with that statement that it is a little bit of a ludicrous move. I mean, I want to go to the lengths of saying what a stupid move that is because it's a one-year deal. How much jeopardy are you putting your future in with signing a one-year deal? Not much, but it just shows that the Mets knew what Syndergaard's market looked like, and Syndergaard and his agent knew what his market looked like because we were surprised from the get-go when the Mets offered him the qualifying offer. I know I was personally, given $18 million a year, $18 million for 1 year for a guy who has not played in a long time. He came back at the end of the season, in glimpses, but that was really it. He's dealt with injury problems for basically his whole career. And even when he has been healthy, he hasn't shown that he could be his dominant self that he once was back in 2015 and those days. So seeing him get that qualifying offer was a shock. Seeing him decline that qualifying offer was a bigger shock. And now this morning, seeing that he signed a $21 million deal with the Los Angeles Angels, just like I said, it just shows that he knew what his market looked like.
Yeah. I was okay with giving him the qualifying offer for $18 million just because, like you said, it's a one-year contract. You're not losing anything. And they were in need of arms. They are in bigger need of starting pitching arms right now. But I think this is a good move by the Mets. You're right. They knew this. I'm almost positive they knew, like, he's going to reject this. We're going to get a pick. And the Mets were dealing with, okay, we're losing Syndergaard. Now, again, we don't know this. I'm shocked at the starting pitching market. And Eduardo Rodriguez from the Red Sox just got paid a nice amount of money, 5 years, $80 million. And with the way we saw starting pitchers being used last season and even more so in the postseason, where they were relying on more relievers, I'm shocked the pitching market is so hot right now. Yeah. And I'm happy because I'm a big fan of starting pitchers. But with the way and it's so risky, starting pitchers, I feel like it's more important to have depth right now. You want more starting pitchers rather than you obviously want the stutter to. But if you have depth in your starting rotation, that's very important. But it's a very hot market right now. Andrew Heaney got $8.5 million for a year.
Yeah.
So I'm shocked. Listen, I'm not at all pissed at the Mets. I mean, they offered the qualifying offer. They got a draft pick. That's it. They lost them. Now, I will be pissed at the Mets if they don't make a move and get a couple of more, maybe 3 more starting pitchers.
Yeah.
But there's also one more kick to this. Noah Syndergaard, who had said at the end of the year last year that he wanted to be a Met. If they offered him the qualifying offer, he would be incredibly grateful for that. He didn't even let the Mets counter offer that. He didn't go back to the Mets at all.
Right.
He got the offer for $21 million. He was actually talking to the Yankees. He was talking to the Red Sox. He was talking to the Blue Jays and did not want to talk to the Mets. He clearly just wanted a fresh start and wanted to get out.
Yeah, obviously. The 21 million it's a high number. It's nothing absurd, but when you compare it to certain other players, that definitely is on the steeper scale. But I think when you were talking about the market, first of all, I think this is one of the best free agent classes that I maybe have ever seen in the MLB, especially in recent history. I mean, you want to talk about the starting pitching market. You have names like Clayton Kershaw, Max Scherzer, Justin Verlander, a couple guys that are on the older side, but then you go to the possible AL Cy Young winner, Robbie Ray. You have Eduardo Rodriguez, who just signed. Carlos Rodon, who's kind of flying under the radar, a guy who had a 5-WAR year, had his season cut short a little bit, got hurt in the middle of the year, but still posted a sub 2.5 ERA, put up incredible strikeout numbers. So it's a really good market on the pitching side. And then, of course, you go to the hitters. You have 5 shortstops who could possibly get deals in the $300 million range. Yeah. First baseman, you have Freddie Freeman, Anthony Rizzo, other guys like Nick Castellanos. So it is a stacked free agent class. And like you said, the pitching market is very high. And it seems like this MLB offseason is going to be one for the ages. But as much as I'd like to get excited about that, you have that dark cloud, that elephant in the room of a possible lockout, which is basically guaranteed to happen at this point. I mean, I think everybody's expecting it for it to happen. It's no longer, will there be a lockout? And now it's, how long will the lockout be? Hopefully it's short. But we know how the players union and the owners negotiate. We witnessed that back in 2019, 2020 in the COVID season. But yeah, like you said, I think the Mets, I don't think they slipped up here. You know, Syndergaard is what he is. I think they invested in him as much as they could. It didn't work out. He had a couple really good years, and then the injuries just started stacking on top of each other, and it just started spiraling. But I'm a little shocked, just to go to the Angels side, I'm a little shocked that they would make this move and give him that much money, because the Angels aren't a team with a super low payroll. I mean, we've seen them dish out lots of dollars over the past couple of years. I mean, you talk about the Anthony Rendon deal. You talk about signing Shohei Ohtani, who they're going to need to extend. He doesn't have a crazy contract, but it's nothing cheap. And then, of course, the mega extension that Mike Trout was given. And, you know, they've signed some other guys in free agency. It's not like they're operating on a $50 million payroll. So are the Angels going to be big spenders this offseason? Are they willing to go past that threshold? I don't know how close they are, but definitely a little surprised by how much the Angels gave Noah Syndergaard, considering we've seen them linked to other starting pitchers, such as Kevin Gausman and even Marcus Strowman and Kershaw and Scherzer and all those guys.
Yeah, I also saw a report today that Verlander is unlikely to go there now. He's more willing to either go back to Detroit or on the East Coast. You know, the Yankees.
Well, that makes sense, because now you're like rolling the dice on 2 people, because you're expecting Verlander to get a 1-year deal, basically.
Well, Verlander's counting them out. He's not. Yeah, the Angels are still interested, but the Verlander doesn't want to go there.
Right.
And that's actually a perfect segue very quickly to you know, the Mets, who just hired Billy Epler from the Angels. And, you know, you talk about the Angels and they've had some dysfunction, you know, in the past few years. They have an owner that is very, very, very vocal. He steps on the general manager's toes. He's been known for that. You brought up Anthony Rendon. He made that signing. That was a Art Moreno signing. Art Moreno has not been a good owner for them. And Billy Epler, who, again, he was with the Yankees for 10 years. He was Brian Cashman's assistant general manager for a few years, his right-hand man. And, you know, I see a lot of people criticizing the move. And, you know, for me, this move to bring him in as general manager is not something I'm jumping for joy about, but it's also not something I'm upset about. Right. It's a move that I think could be very good. Yeah. Billy Epler is a, you know, scout. He's an analytically driven guy. He wants to build a team the right way. He was able to spend a lot of money because Art Moreno was always win now mode. I said win mode now on the radio 4 straight times. 4 straight times.
Yeah, that's a little tongue twister.
It is. He's always in win now mode, but he won't go over the luxury tax. So it's like you're dishing out all these contracts, and you're asking your general manager, okay, we're gonna pay Mike Trout $30 million. We're paying Pujols this amount of money. They're probably still paying Josh Hamilton, but you have to stay over. You have to stay under the luxury tax. So I think Billy Epler is a fine hire considering the circumstances. And listen, couldn't do any. I don't think they could have done any better, honestly. So
right,
I'm okay with it.
It seemed like this Mets job wasn't exactly the most desired position for a lot of these guys that they were interviewing. I mean, we saw a lot of people decline to be interviewed or just didn't end up being interested in the job. But, I feel like the casual take here is to be like, oh, let's look at what Billy Epler did. The Angels haven't gone anywhere. They signed all these big contracts and blah, blah, blah. But you brought up a fair point with the owner. Is it Art Moreno? What is it?
Art Moreno.
Art Moreno. It seems like he's kind of the guy where it's go big or go home for him. And I think Billy Epler has made some calculated moves, but that Pujols deal, the Hamilton deal, the Rendon, everything like that, I think that seems to me to be a little bit of pressure from the owner to make that big splash.
He didn't make the Pujols in Hamilton. He was there for the
right.
Rendon.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to describe the way Art Moreno operates.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Those deals seem to be a little pressured, pressure from the owner. Let's make a big splash. Justin Upton, guys like that.
Yeah.
Where, some guys who are maybe on the wrong side of their career and you're dishing out these big numbers and you're just trying to maybe excite the fans or get something going. But, I wouldn't necessarily knock Billy Epler for those moves. I mean, he takes some responsibility, of course, but I wouldn't just evaluate this signing and look at his history and say, oh, well, he signed these guys that didn't work out. So no, thank you. One thing I will applaud the Mets for doing is we've seen the Mets in these situations before. You want to think back to the Brody Van Wagenen signing, or you want to think back to Luis Rojas for their manager deal. They haven't really seemed to get people who are very experienced and have been know the game kind of a thing, know their position to the T. And I think that deserves some applause that they got a guy who's a household name, who's been in the game for a while as the general manager, has experience with other ball clubs. And you're not just signing some guy, giving a promotion and hoping that he can fill the shoes and take that next step. Just because maybe you get him for cheaper or whatever it is. I definitely applaud them for getting a guy who's done this job before.
Well, they were committed to their search. They were committed to what they were doing in their process, which you give them credit for. I think they were very thorough in their investigation and their interviewing process. But I think you nailed it with the experience. But the biggest thing to me, and you didn't mention it, the experience of working in New York. And Sandy Olson had brought that up. He had said maybe people are afraid of New York, and he probably shouldn't have said that. Internally, and a lot of people, I think we know that. I don't think people find New York a desirable place to work. It's not easy. It's not comfortable. He also said that. And that's not a selling point. You shouldn't sell to people this isn't a comfortable job. Right. Of course it's not. We all know that. It's New York. But you have to sell the fact that this is a good job because you're in the biggest market in the world. If you win, forget about it. Forget it. See, New York, forget about it.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. Like, he goes from LA where things really weren't working out. I know he didn't jump straight from LA to New York, but very recently he was the general manager in LA. And now, you're right. It's not the most desirable location for some people because you are under a lot of heat when you're in New York. And now you stack on top of that, the Mets haven't won in a while. You have new ownership. You're looking for a new manager. Like, there's a lot on his plate, but I understand the move from his point because there's also the upside to it. You can come into New York, turn this thing around, kill it, and now you're a god. So you kind of you
credit to him.
Yeah, you make your own bed. So he's got balls to come over here. I mean, obviously, this isn't some stupid position that he's taking. You're the general manager of the New York Mets. That's pretty
30 jobs.
So I understand the move from his point, and I understand maybe why some guys who are in more secure positions would choose not to come here, to come to the Mets, but I understand it from his point.
Listen, I'm not crazy. I understand there's a lot going on with the Mets right now. I do. And if you want to take a chance, you could really, really, really not, hit a home run. You could completely knock it out of the park. If the Yankees job opened up tomorrow, you wouldn't have this issue. It's yes, there's a ton of pressure. Yes, it's New York, but it's the Yankees. Right. So the Mets have a lot going on right now. And especially this, and I had said it, back when the season was ending, this was their biggest offseason in a while because of all the change that's about to happen. So We're just gonna have to wait and see. We got to hire a manager. Thankfully, there weren't a lot of firings and things like that. Nobody, and I think a team hired internally, so it's not like you're behind there.
Right.
But we got something cool to do right now. I'm very excited for this. We're going to predict the top 20, our top 20. We have a list of the free agents, and we are going to predict where they are going. This is I'm really excited for this because, like you said, this is a massive year for free agents. One of the best we've seen in a while. I don't know if is it the best? You said
it's really good because they hyped up that free agent class. I remember, back in 2016, they were talking about, the 2019 free agency class is unbelievable. And at the time, you're like, holy crap, look at all these names. But then you had some guys that fizzled out a little bit, like Josh Donaldson. At that time, he was with the Blue Jays winning MVPs. But once he hit free agency, that's when he signed that, deal with the Braves. He wasn't as much of a hot commodity. And that's the Machado Harper free agency class. But
right,
I think this one's pretty damn good.
Yeah, you definitely have. You have more players. Like that's the thing. It's more than you had.
It's so deep. Yeah, the depth is unbelievable. Maybe there's not a top 10 player in baseball out there. I mean, I think you can make the argument for Freeman. I don't think people really expect him to move around. I'll mention that on my list a little later. But there's some hot names out there.
All right, let's get right to it. Right,
real quick though, how you like your boy? We're talking about the Mets looking for a manager, your former manager. He's going to be sending people home at Yankee Stadium. How do you like about that?
Everybody's making fun of Luis.
It's a good job.
It's a great job.
Yeah.
He seems like a great guy. I mean, like top-notch guy, and he's a smart baseball man.
Yeah.
So I'm happy that Luis got to stay in the state and he doesn't have to move. That's big. So good for Luis.
All right. Let's jump right into it.
You're starting off with Correa.
I'm going to start off with Carlos Correa, who is definitely one of the top free agents on the market. He's been linked to a bunch of teams. He's had a lot of drama around the past couple of years. We know the Astros cheating scandal, and he's kind of been the poster boy for that. So I'm going to start us off, and I'm not going to be, I don't know if this is a surprise to everybody, but I have Carlos Correa signing. Did you put a little cliffhanger here? Did you put your the terms of the contract? Because I didn't. I just put the teams.
I did not.
Okay, yeah, that's too complicated. I'm not a sports agent. I don't know what these exact terms these guys are getting.
We could guess if we want.
Right. I have Carlos Correa signing with his former manager, the Detroit Tigers. I have him going to Detroit. I think this wouldn't be a shock to everybody. I think Tigers, they had a nice year, a little unexpected, under the radar. They finished around 500. I think the Tigers want to be spenders this offseason. They have the money. They're looking for a shortstop. This makes sense to me. I got Correa going to Detroit.
I actually agree with you, and I hope he goes there like for just the Tigers, but I also hope he goes to I'm rooting for him to go to the Yankees.
Listen, I would gladly take him to the Yankees. To me, I know you have Seager, but if I'm thinking between Correa and Seager, I think they're going to lean a little more towards Seager because I think I don't think you should sign players based on what side of the plate they bat from when you're giving people 7-8 year deals or wherever they're giving. But I think the fact that he's a lefty helps. And I think the fact that it seems like Hal Steinbrenner is really in love with Seager, I'd say he's got a better chance than Correa, but I'll let you answer that question.
Yeah. So I've been flip-flopping with this, and it would also impact another move, Marcus Semien, but I'm going to put him here. And I saw a report again an hour ago about the Yankees and Seager. I'm going to say this is the big move they make. This is the guy they go get. It's going to be expensive. Both of these guys probably, if not 300, very close to $300 million. Mm-hmm. He's a lefty. He's a winner. He's got to stay healthy. I mean, he's had some big injuries. He's had the Tommy John, which was a freak injury for a position player. So I wouldn't be like too concerned about that. He's got to stay healthy, though. He's a winner, and he's clutch. I have Corey Seager going to the New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that deal. I'll gladly take Corey Seager. All right. Yeah, Chris Bryant. This one was tough for me. This was one of the last ones that I really came to a decision on. A couple teams bounced in my head. I had him actually most recently, the last team I had that I scratched off the list, I had him going back to the Cubs.
Okay.
But after thinking about it for a little bit, I don't really know if he's going to want to do that or if the Cubs are going to want to do that. I don't know if they're ready to spend again just yet. I know obviously Bryant was
Soon.
there for a long time, but I have Chris Bryant going to a team that had a really nice year and flirted with an AL wildcard spot and is going to be some spenders this offseason. I got Chris Bryant going to the Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
I think, this is a team that, like I said, and I finished with around 90 wins, and I don't know their exact record, 90, 92, whatever it was. And, they're a young team. They have plenty of money to spend. Their owner one of their executives has flexed about how they've charged people so much money for parking, which was hilarious. But I think Chris Bryant, he's got positional flexibility. Kyle Seager's getting up there in age.
He's gone.
He might be a free agent. Yeah, he's a free agent. He's gone. They need a third baseman. So I think Bryant fits in really well with Seattle.
Yeah. I could definitely see that. I got somebody else going there. Well, actually, let me ask you this. I had my next player going there. Should I still say it or should I change it?
Of course.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with my picks.
Okay. So I happen to think just because the way the Mets have courted him, I think that's the big guy the Mets go out and get is Bryant. I see the Mariners getting Semien. Semien's from out west over there. He has said to want to play out west. They have a need. They have a lot of money. I see them giving Semien a lot of money, and he goes to the Mariners. He's a fantastic player. We saw it last year with the Blue Jays, and you'd love to get him out of the division, of course.
Yeah, of course.
So I think they do get him out of the division, and he goes out to Seattle.
Right. I would, if I'm a Mariners fan, I would love this right now. I think, Bryant or Semien, there's a pretty good chance. And if I was a Mariners fan, I would want Semien. I think, maybe the age is a little against Semien, but that was what we said last year. And he just put up one of the best seasons we've ever seen from a second baseman. So he's a hell of a player.
He's not getting a 6 or 7 year deal. I'd say more on the.
He'll get really high value, average annual value, but maybe the years won't be as high. But then again, I think Scott Boras is his agent, so you never know. That guy pulls magic tricks. All right, I got my personal favorite human being in the MLB right now, Freddie Freeman. That's my boy. Just won a World Series with the Atlanta Braves, doubled down after winning an MVP season the year before. And I got him staying in Atlanta. I don't think this is a shock to anybody. Now, there have been tweets that, the Yankees have talked to him and blah, blah, blah. That means nothing. Of course, they're going to check in. No one's just going to assume that Freddie Freeman's going to re-sign. And
that's everybody doing their jobs.
Right. But I think Freeman, I think this makes total sense. He's beloved by the fans. He's beloved by the organization. He's played there for over 10 years. He has a family established down there. They have the money to pay him. No doubt, Freddie Freeman back to the Atlanta Braves.
Can't disagree with the word you said. Freeman seems like a fantastic guy, and there's one guy I'm happy for on that Atlanta Braves team. It is him. Mm-hmm. All right. Robbie Ray, who, like you had said before, may win the AL Cy Young. When's that coming out? Tomorrow, right?
Yeah, it should be very soon.
Robbie Ray, I have him staying in Toronto. I think the Blue Jays will miss out on Semien. I think they'll focus their attention onto Robbie Ray and throw a lot of money at him. And I will see how the contract works out. I don't know how much he'll get. I can't even give you an estimate. They just re-signed Jose Berrios. They extended him for 7 years, $131 million. One of my favorite pitchers. So they're going to be full-blown committed to this pitching staff. They have that Alex Manoah kid who was fantastic last year. So, yeah, I got Robbie Ray staying in Toronto.
Do you want me to be honest? My prediction, if I had Semien and Ray, I'd flip-flop it. I think Ray's gone. I think Semien stays. That's like my bold prediction of the offseason.
Okay.
All right, I got Max Scherzer, my first pitcher. Max Scherzer is an interesting free agent because obviously he's a guy whose age is up there, but he might as well, he could win the freaking NL Cy Young this year. I mean, the guy just continues to show that his age does not matter. He's a top of the line starting pitcher that any team would love to have in their rotation. And They've had him going back to the Dodgers. Some people have him going across town to the Giants. I got him going to St. Louis.
I love that.
I think the Cardinals could use an ace. I mean, Adam Wainwright and Jack Flaherty have flirted with that title. I mean, obviously Wainwright held it for years, but he seemed to grasp that title again this year with an unbelievable season. But the Cardinals have shown, man, they're not afraid to do crazy moves. I mean, the Nolan Arenado trade, Paul Goldschmidt, and now I think Max Scherzer goes to St. Louis, and I think they get that front of the line, no doubt, ace on the mound, and they get Max Scherzer.
That's who I had. I'm praying he's a Met, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think if there's any other situation, this is the perfect one for him.
Yep.
I most likely, I mean, if I had to predict, like my pick was going to be the Cardinals, but if I had to predict, I'd probably say he's going back to the Dodgers. But I love that for the Cardinals. That's nice.
That is nice. I would love to see that.
All right, Kevin Gausman, he's up, and he had an interesting year. He had a very good year, and he's going to be due for a lot of money, probably in the $100 million, $115 million range. Good for him. This is going to be weird. I haven't seen any link to this at all. I'm going to say the Mets miss out on Scherzer and Strowman and get Gausman.
Wow.
My original pick was the Giants, but I don't see the Mets going for Strowman just because it's going to be very expensive. I see them missing out on Scherzer. I'm going to say Gausman becomes the guy they focus in on and get for their like big starting pitching acquisition this year.
Yeah, Gausman's a little weird. I mean, he's had an up and down career.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a bit of a big prospect and never really seemed to fulfill his potential in Baltimore, but he would definitely put it together in San Francisco. Kind of fizzled off towards the end of the year, but still very strong year. All right, I got my Twitter friend Marcus Strowman here, who has blocked Merlot, and I'm surprised he hasn't blocked me yet because I called him out on Twitter today because everything that comes out of that guy's mouth is about the Yankees, which is
you want to read the tweet?
Pretty strange. Yeah, I'll read the tweet. I tweeted. Hold on. I tweeted at Marcus Strowman, "You are an unprofessional clown who lets the Yankees live rent-free in your head. Pathetic." Then he, instead of saying whatever pertains to what I said to him, he decides to send me his resume. So I wasn't asking for a job interview, but if he wanted to do that, okay. I don't know with him having his own foundation and having a music career has to do with him being an unprofessional clown, but whatever.
I didn't know he had a music career, so that's the information.
That goes to show how successful his music career. Anyways, I have Marcus Strowman going to a team that has had a couple crazy off seasons recently and made some crazy moves. I think they'll be a little quieter this year because I don't think they really have the room to do it, but I think this is their big signing. I got him going to San Diego.
Yeah.
And playing for the Pods. I mean, the Padres, what an up and down season they had. And it wasn't like a Yankees roller coaster where it was constantly up and down. It was up, they hit the top, and then it went crashing down with the starting pitching. Yu Darvish had an abysmal second half. Really happened after the whole foreign substance thing happened, which is a little sketchy and might tell you something. Blake Snell, very disappointing year. So I got them getting a starting pitcher, which was something that you didn't think they would need, but they do now. And I got Strowman going to the Padres, but I would say Scherzer also could be a possibility. Maybe I haven't really seen him create that much link to them, but he was definitely linked to them at the trade deadline. I could see them giving him a short-term deal, but I got them getting Strowman.
Yeah, that was my team. I had them. I also thought the Giants, and I think Strowman would play very well in that ballpark. I mean, most pitchers do, but especially Strowman because he's a contact guy, and if he does let up that occasional fly ball, it's tough for him. It's tough for that ball to get
San
out.
Diego is not the place to go if you're a contact pitcher. That's
the Giants.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying, you would not want to go to San Diego if you're Strowman, but
no,
that's where I got it.
If they throw the money at him, he'll. I mean, that's
Yeah.
and
Well,
I'm having this argument with a bunch of people that these players are going to go where whoever throws them the most money. That's it.
But no, apparently Marcus Stroman would play for anybody except the Yankees at this point. That right, but and that's okay. That's okay.
If the Yankees offered him $200 million and the Padres offered him 150, he would choose the Padres.
Yeah, trust me, that's all right. We don't need him.
All right, my next guy, Starling Marte, and I have a lot of teams here. A lot of teams are linked to him: the Yankees, the Mets, the Marlins, the Astros. I think the Phillies overpaid for him. They've had a need in center field for God knows how long, and listen, he's the top center fielder on the market. He's older, so I think the money that I'm seeing, the projected salary, 3 years, $75 million. I think the Mets and the Yankees should stay away personally. He's an older guy. He's 33. He steals a lot of bases. He's exciting right now. He got traded over to the A's last season at the trade deadline. He was great for them, but I would stay away here. I really would, and let the Phillies make this mistake. But I think the Phillies will make the mistake and sign him to like a 4-year contract,
which would be ballsy because they need starting pitching. I mean, they've been pretty mediocre at everything for the past couple of years, to be honest with you. They kind of need a little bit of everything.
Need a bullpen.
Yeah. All right. I got one of the last couple shortstops here. I got Trevor Story, who seemed to be a bit of a higher on this list at the end of the year when you thought about it last offseason, but didn't really have that contract year this year where he really put up some great numbers, and he didn't have the best year. But I think Story obviously still is a very desirable free agent. I think he'll get a monster deal. Nothing absurd, but definitely some big numbers you'll see. And I think the Yankees are a player for him. I think a couple other teams are, but I got Story going to the Texas Rangers, who I think are a team that obviously have a lot of work to do. They traded Joey Gallo. They traded Kyle Gibson. They traded some guys away. They didn't have a good year. And I don't think they expect to sign Trevor Story and just have a great year. You know, they know this is going to take a little bit of time. But you get a guy in Trevor Story who isn't he's not old. He's still in his prime. Could even be getting better. Who knows? Obviously, he's not going to be playing in Colorado, which might hurt him a little bit. But the defense is there. The base running's there. He's an all-around great player. I think this fit makes a lot of sense for Texas.
He's kind of going underlooked. I think you're 100% right. I agree with this fit. I think the Rangers make a lot of sense. I also think the Astros make a ton of sense. But do you think there's any scenario in which he signs maybe a 1-year contract?
I wouldn't call it crazy, but I would say it's unlikely, definitely.
If his market's not there, then maybe he does.
Well, that's something that I kind of want to see is who signs last out of these shortstops and how does it affect them? Does it help them? Does it hurt them? Does it do nothing? You know, because maybe there's not a fit out there, or you kind of ran out of teams that are willing to throw those 7+ year deals north of 200 million. So
there's not many of those teams. That's
right. You just off the top of your head, you got to cut, the Yankees, Red Sox, Dodgers, and the Mets, something, maybe the Cardinals, other teams. The Cardinals don't need a shortstop, but I'm just talking about big market teams. So the Cardinals, it's not like they have a perennial all-star shortstop, but they're not actively looking. But anyways,
I could see the Phillies in there. They can make a run at them.
But I would think it would hurt them because I think, your options get low, start to get shorter and shorter. So,
and for a while, I thought this was going to be the case with Baez, but we were talking before, his market's apparently hot right now. So I doubt he'll sign the 1-year deal, but you obviously are going to have Correa, Seager, Simeon. They're all going to get multi-year contracts, 100%. And then again, like we said, Baez, his name's hot right now. Story's the guy that's left there. And you can argue Story could be the third best guy, the second best guy on this list at times.
I'm very interested to see what happens with him.
Last offseason, there were arguments that Trevor Story was the best shortstop in baseball.
Yeah.
Even over Fernando Tatis. Story's put up some really good numbers in Colorado. Who hasn't, honestly? But, he's more than just a Coors Field guy. I forgot. You're up.
Yes, I am up. And this is an interesting one. Chris Taylor of the Dodgers, he just declined the qualifying offer. I'm going to say he goes over and signs with their rival, the Giants. I think the Giants are going to lose. Why am I blanking on his name? Who are we just talking about with the Giants? Bryant.
That's Bryant.
I think the Giants are going to lose Bryant. I think Chris Taylor comes in. He could play a ton of positions. I don't even know where he would play, but he's an athletic player. He's a good player, righty bat, clutch. I think the Giants go out there. They sign Chris Taylor, and I don't really see how you can argue how Chris Taylor would be a bad signing with how valuable he is to some teams.
Yeah, I mean the Dodgers have a lot of guys coming off the books this year, honestly. But it probably won't affect them. Their depth is unbelievable, and they always seem to figure it out. But I don't hate that move. I think the Giants. I'm really interested to see what their offseason looks like. Obviously Buster Posey retiring. That doesn't seem like it's going to affect them. It will affect them, but it doesn't seem like they're going to be scrambling to have Joey Bart, a big catching prospect. Yeah. But then you got Kevin Gausman coming off the books. Alex Wood is a free agent, so that rotation might need a little help. But we'll see what they do, and if they try to improve even more on the offensive side. All right, Javi Baez. I got Javi Baez going back to the New York Mets. I think, a couple people might look at this as a consolation prize for the Mets. Honestly, it depends what happens. If the Mets decide to sign Baez before any of the other shortstops sign, that doesn't tell you it's a consolation prize. That tells you that they want Javier Baez and they want him to stay. But, Javi Baez that's a pretty good consolation prize. He's no, bum. He's finished second in MVP before. He's had some good years. Obviously he's had some problems with his plate discipline and getting on base and everything like that. But with his style of play, you kind of sign up for it. He's an excellent defensive shortstop. He's not going to be playing shortstops for them. Obviously they have Francisco Lindor. So that would be a very high paid middle infield for the New York Mets. But I think, I don't necessarily agree with this move. I don't know if I would give a second baseman, because that's where you're signing him for, a number that would be north of $200 million in Javi Baez, especially because of the style of baseball he plays. I don't love it. It might work, but my preference, I don't love it. But I think he goes back to the Mets.
I'd be shocked if it was north of 200. I'll be completely honest with you. But I've been critical of Javi Baez, and I'm coming to terms with it because I don't really think I have a choice. And I'm going to live with it because Javi Baez is a very exciting player. Yes, strikes out a lot. The on-base percentage is not going to be up there. Hopefully he can, take what he did at the end of last season and use that plate discipline, because he'll be a fantastic player if he has somewhat of a better plate discipline. But listen, he's a fast guy. He's a very smart baseball player. I could give him that. He's got great instincts. Like you said, he's a plus defender. He hits a lot of home runs. He's got power at all field. He's a 3 to 4, possibly a 5 WAR type player. So bring him back. I'm not going to be against this team spending money and improving the team, and he improves the team.
Right. Good.
I'm up.
Yep.
Nick Castellanos. This is a weird one. I was lost with this one. And this is weird, but I'm going to say he goes to the Cleveland Guardians.
Look at that.
Yeah, the Guardians, who officially today, they're good. They got their naming rights from the local roller derby team, so good for them. They won that case. I'm very happy for them. Listen, I think his market isn't going to be as high as he thinks. He's got the qualifying offer attached to him. The Guardian, I can't. The Indian, I gotta say Indians right now. I'm sorry, because I'm talking about them in the past tense. So they were the Indians. Right. So I'm gonna say the Indians.
Yeah, that's okay.
The Indians, they had a weird year where they were like floating right there, and they don't know what to do if they want to like.
They've been like grasping on mediocrity.
They're half pregnant.
Yeah, exactly. That's my phrase. There you go. Yeah.
So I think they'll say, "Oh, this is a good deal. Let's bring them in." They have to. They have a very low payroll. They have to spend some money. I feel like, and I think this is where they go. Where did you have them going?
I think Castellanos goes to the Mets.
Really?
I think they make up for losing out on Bryant and they replace Conforto. I think he goes to the Mets.
All right, so you don't have them getting Bryant. So, all right, makes sense.
All right. Clayton Kershaw.
This is interesting.
This is very interesting. And I wasn't so sure about this. There's been a lot of rumors with him going to Texas because he's from there, and the Rangers the Rangers, could give a lot of money, and they've proven that they don't care about the ages of pitchers. They like those kind of prove it deals. They've done it with Corey Kluber and Lance Lynn and stuff like that. I got Kershaw going back to the Dodgers. I don't think this is a big shock. Obviously, he's been with LA his whole career. He's going to go down as one of the greatest starting pitchers we've ever seen. And I think the Dodgers, they lose Scherzer. I think they get Kershaw. Who knows what the hell's going to be going on with Trevor Bauer? That guy might never play a freaking game in the MLB again. I think they bring Clayton Kershaw back on maybe a team-friendly deal. I think he's made a lot of money. He'll be willing to do that. And I think he goes back to LA.
I think he stays in LA and goes over to the Angels.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be nuts.
That would be nuts.
I would be all for that. You always talk about you love chaos. That's chaos. I love that.
That is chaos. Art Moreno likes to throw money in.
But Art Moreno won't give him like a 1 year, $30 million deal. He'll be like, oh, here's $8 million. You play when you're 45. It's fine. Yeah. I mean, 8 years. Yeah.
It'd be interesting. But yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with him. I think if you're a betting man, you'd bet on him to go back to the Dodgers. But let's see. I don't know. I'm trying to get kinky.
Maybe
Justin
Verlander, you're about to talk about. Maybe if Verlander doesn't end up in New York, maybe the Yankees be like,
could make a run at him.
Yeah, hey Clayton, what's going on?
Yeah, no, I don't see any. Actually, there's one scenario that actually just popped up, and that's the Tigers. That'd be interesting. I'd like to see it. I don't think it's happening. I think the Yankees are full blown in love with them.
No
at this
offense,
point.
Tigers, but if I'm Clayton Kershaw, like I've been in LA my whole career. I'm gonna want to go play in Detroit.
No, I'm talking about Verlander right now.
Oh, you're talking about Verlander. Okay, yeah.
I think the Yankees are. I shouldn't say full blown in love with him, but I think the Yankees have their sights set on. We're gonna take this risk. We're gonna take this chance.
Yeah.
And I think for the Yankees, as of right now, this is a move. Go make this move.
Yeah.
And I have nothing other to say about it other than I think it's going to happen. I am very confident in that Verlander will be a Yankee.
Right. It's all mine. I'm gonna be
again, unless he wants to go with his former manager and his former teammate to the Tigers.
Right.
That is kind of enticing. I don't know how much he loves those guys, but we'll see. And it's official. Noah Syndergaard passes physical, and it is done deal.
There you go. All right. The last couple guys coming up here. This is a guy who I didn't even know was a free agent, to be honest with you. I forgot. Kenley Jansen is a free agent. And I got another back-to-back guys going back to the Dodgers. I think he stays in LA. Dodgers have all the money in the world to spend. They don't care about no damn luxury tax. That doesn't even exist to them, to be honest with you. I have them going back to LA. Jansen, a guy who maybe people were questioning, was losing it a little bit and really stretched out his pitch repertoire this year, added another pitch, and was dominant and proved that in the postseason. So I got the Dodgers getting their closer back. Kenley Jansen goes back to LA and keeps that bullpen just shut down.
Makes sense. Why wouldn't you want to do that? Unless a team like the Phillies throw an absurd amount of money at them, which I think is possible. Raciel Iglesias is also available from the Angels. We'll see what happens there. But definitely makes sense. All right, Anthony Rizzo, former Yankee. I think he goes to the rival Red Sox. It makes sense. They need a first baseman. I think he'll
Well, I'm actually not going to spoil the next one, but I kind of
No.
just did already. But I think Rizzo and the Red Sox make sense. I thought it made so much sense at the trade deadline. The Yankees swooped in, and it was a nice trade at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, makes so much sense because they had Kyle Schwarber playing at first base in big games. That can't happen.
And it seemed like the Red Sox missed out on Rizzo at the deadline. They were linked to him a lot, and a lot of rumors that they wanted Rizzo.
Right. So this seems like I could also see him going back to the Cubs.
Yeah.
But I think the Red Sox make the most sense. This one's interesting.
Couple lefties to end off the
the
prediction. So my last guy is Michael Conforto. Mets fans, some hate him, some love him. Take whatever you want.
All love for Conforto.
He's gone. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yes.
And I got Mikey saying, all right, Trevor Story, I'm going to come play with you. I got him going to Texas. I think Michael Conforto goes to the Texas Rangers. Maybe makes up for Joey Gallo, whatever you want to say. But the Rangers got some money to spend. And
sure.
This is a guy who could be very appealing to them. It could be a signing that they miss on, but also could be a signing that hits and hits big. Conforto's proven in his streaky career that he can be a very good hitter in the major leagues. I have him going to Texas.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy what's happened. If you hear Scott Boras, he called him the King of Queens and the diamond in every GM's heart. So, and I don't know about that one, Scott, but you do you.
I'm sure if Michael Conforto wasn't his client, he'd be saying the same thing.
Yeah. 230 batting average, 700 OPS. Yeah, sure.
Real diamond. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
If that's what diamonds are, I'm never buying a diamond ring for my future wife ever.
Yeah, really.
Where did you have him going? I'm curious for you.
Seattle. I think he's I have 3 teams: Seattle, the Giants, or the Phillies.
So no Texas.
I did not see Texas, but it definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
And I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the last one.
Finish us off.
Pause. Kyle Schwarber. I think he stays over there in Boston. They love him. They love him.
Yeah.
And he was the whole season. I mean, when he was with Washington and he had 10 home runs in 5 games against the Mets. And then when the Mets played him, he had 2 more against them. When he was at Boston, no problem. He was fantastic last season. I mean, he looked like the hitter that was advertised, 5 years ago. So I think he's going to paid. I think he'll be their DH. He can't play defense if his life depended on it, but they throw him out there sometimes.
Does this mean Bobby Dahlbeck is on the trade market?
It would mean that, right? Because I
guess so. I mean, I don't know if he could. I think he might be able to play outfield, but I don't think they want to do all that moving around.
No. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you're bringing in Rizzo, you're bringing in Schwarber.
Right. Maybe they could.
In my world, it would be. But yeah, I see him over there. Boston tries to run it back, go back the playoffs.
All right, pretty good. Run. Let's see. We'll see how many we got right.
I'm very excited to see how many we got right. There's a lot of free agents. I mean, we did 20. There's, you can make a list of 50. Yeah, and they're very, very impactful. So if the team wasn't mentioned, I guess we're idiots. But we're gonna take a quick break, do a little football before we go back. The Warriors just killed the Brooklyn Nets in Brooklyn, a big game. So maybe we'll talk about that after this. Here we go. Episode 44. We are back with some NFL news and updates from the craziness. Was that week 10 or week 11?
Week 10.
Week 10. Wow. We got a lot more. We got 7 more weeks to go.
I was going to say the same. No, 8 more weeks. 18 this year. Come on.
Oh my God.
I was going to say, usually the NFL season, I'm like, holy crap, that went so fast. But for some reason, not this year.
Not this one.
I'm I feel like this season is going pretty normally.
It's been long. I mean, I feel like I've sat on my couch every Sunday.
Turn
on Red Zone long time.
Probably because every week we're like, oh, this team sucks, and then we're like, wait, never mind, they're good. But like you said, the NFL's drunk, so
it's stressful. It's we don't know who's good. We know nothing.
Can the Patriots make their minds up? How about that? Figure it out.
No, the Patriots have made their minds up.
Okay.
let's start with the Chiefs because they have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
The Chiefs did blow out the Raiders on Sunday Night Football. Thanks, Raiders. I really appreciate it. They blow them out 41-14. The Chiefs offense looks like normal. Looked a little bit normal. They did not turn the ball over. Mahomes was taking what the defense was giving him. They had 255 yards after the catch.
Wow.
Which is good. And they threw the ball 50 times and he completed for a nice percentage. Looked like the Chiefs. They were patient. They didn't take the deep shot and turn the ball over. This is what they got to do. And the deep shot will be there eventually.
Yeah, this was a game where the Chiefs looked like the Chiefs of old, like you said. One of my few correct spread picks that I picked this week. At this point, I might as well just stop picking. My record is just plummeting. But yeah, I like the line in this game. I think the Chiefs, I thought they were going to win pretty comfortably, and they obviously did. They haven't looked good the whole season, the Chiefs, but they had a nice bounce back week this week. Took care of business, obviously put up 41 points. Pat Mahomes with the best game of his season so far, probably one of the best of his career. I mean, 400 yards and 5 touchdowns is astonishing. But yeah, like what I saw out of the Chiefs this weekend. The Raiders are frauds. Let's get that out there. Frauds. Darren Waller's a fraud. Thanks for costing me a couple fantasy games. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
But yeah, that's my take.
Spread picks haven't been good. They weren't good this week.
Dude,
I watched them I watched them right after the 1 o'clock started. Not good.
I was 5-8 last week, and that's bad, but to me that's really bad because when you consider the games and the picks I got wrong, it was just bad. I picked the Browns to cover last week and they got freaking killed by the Patriots. Yeah. Yeah, not a great week. I did get the Chiefs game right, but I think you have a pretty comfortable lead ahead of me. I'm gonna start doing that thing with the whole teams that didn't cover the week before. That's my only chance at this point.
There's only 3 games though this week like that, and one of them's the Thursday night. So
oh, great! No, good. I'm glad I came up with the idea to do it now when it's useless.
Yeah, that trend was good again. It went 4-2 last week. Yeah, so, yeah. I would 7-6, not too shabby, but yeah, the Chiefs' defense is what's impressing me a little bit. The last 5 games, they are allowing their opponents 15.6 points per game. Pass rush looks alive, looks good, and listen, they spent a lot of money on the defense.
Yeah,
so it's about time they started to show up.
Right. I mean, Jordan Love Packer game gave up 7 points. Obviously, if Aaron Rodgers is on the field, it's a different story, but giving up 7 points in the NFL alone that's impressive. You got to be happy with that. They, what more could they do that game? Speaking of really good defenses and speaking of Packers, I'm going to take your job here for a second. I want to segue to this Packers.
Yeah,
game
please.
Because I run the show now. That's
yeah.
Sorry.
You do the intro.
Yeah, no problem. Here we go. Okay, no, So, yeah, the Packers defense, I mean, shutting out Russell Wilson, who was making this grand return where, he's coming back after 3 weeks and, here comes Big Bad Russ with this freaking finger tape on and he's going to throw for 0 points. Yeah, okay, attaboy, Russ.
Hate on Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
he's
the
hate on Wilson.
Man on the planet. Hey, Seattle, shut up.
I love Russ.
But, Packers defense played phenomenal. They held Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, and Russell Wilson to a combined 34 points over the last 3 weeks. And,
crazy.
You said at the beginning of the show, and we might get into it a little bit later when we talking about who, it seems like no team is really out there to say, I'm the best team in this, and this is my conference. I think the Packers have done that, to be honest with you. I mean, you look at their schedule lately and the way they've just been, they beat Arizona on the road in a primetime game, who was undefeated at the time without Devontae Adams, and they win that game. Then the Kansas City game's a wash, no Rodgers, obviously.
Right.
And then they go make that statement by shutting out a Seattle team who has a future Hall of Fame quarterback in Russell Wilson. And I think they really can confirm that these next 2 weeks where they are playing the Rams. And this week they're playing who are they playing this week?
Vikings.
The Vikings. So 2 teams, especially in the Rams, who are coming off a shaky week, but definitely not 2 teams who you're just going to roll over. Those are 2 pretty good football teams. So I think the Packers have proven that they're a really good team. And I think this is the defense that Aaron Rodgers and the Packers organization has been looking for in these past couple of years when they've gotten so close to getting the Super Bowl.
It's weird because when we talk about the Packers, obviously the past, I don't even know how many years, we talk about how good Rodgers is and how good the offense is and how they're carrying them. And this year, that is not the case. It has been their defense. And it's weird to say the Packers are the best part of their team is the defense. And it's true. And it's like, I have to remind myself it's like people are like, and their defense was great. I think we're past the point, especially this year, where we have to say their defense is surprising. Like it is very, very good. They signed Joe Barry from I don't know where he came from, the defensive coordinator. He's been great.
Yeah,
and
they've had.
I want to see more offensively. I think getting Bakhtiari back will absolutely do that. And obviously Rodgers, he was sitting in his house for a week and a half, so
right.
I thought he played fine considering the circumstances. But I want to see more offensively. And again, I think Bakhtiari, the best left tackle in football, will help that out.
Right. Well, the thing that's helped them on the defense is, Devondre Campbell has been an absolutely phenomenal signing for them. I mean, he won NFC Defensive Player of the Month. And then Rasul Douglas has been a pleasant surprise in their secondary.
Rasul Douglas.
What do you laugh?
No, because of your brother and Luke.
Oh yeah, I know. But yeah, Rasul Douglas has been a pleasant surprise for the Packers. Obviously he made that great play on Thursday Night Football when AJ Green, his controller died in the middle of the route.
He retired in the middle of the route.
Yeah. But really like what I see about the Packers defense. Credit to their defensive coordinator, like you said. And if I'm a Packers fan, I'm ecstatic that they have this defense. The only thing that I'm like, well, this is great, but like, why can't we take last year's offense and this year's defense and put them on the same team? Obviously, their offense this year isn't bad, but it's not as good as it was last year. I'm freaking burping like I don't know. I'm like hiccuping and burping. I gotta go a whole day salad or like a fast or something because I'm a mess.
Sounds like suicide.
Yeah. That's bad.
Yeah, it's weird. But we got to get used to it. Let's see. Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens. And I'm very excited for that Rams game. That'll be is that Sunday night or 4:25 on Fox? I think it's 4:25. No, it'll probably
be 4:25. Knowing the NFL, Steelers Panthers will be Sunday Night Football or something.
But I did we go over this? I like the 4:25 start.
So do I.
I love that.
I do as well. But I think from the NFL's perspective, they like to put their really good games. They want them on Sunday Night Football, but it seems like they just can't get that right this year.
Well, this week 4:25 is Cowboys Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's interesting. Sunday night is Steelers Chargers.
Are you kidding? No, the Steelers are actually on Sunday Night Football.
I think so, yeah. And TJ Watt might not play, and they don't know about Big Ben. And
why do they? Oh, okay. So Mason Rudolph and the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to play Sunday Night Football. No, that's really intriguing. I want to see Mason Rudolph dump it off to Najee Harris 17 times, and the final score be 20-17. That's fun.
Well, with the way the Chargers defense is playing, that's probably going to be a close game.
I don't understand why the Steelers are getting so many primetime games.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
This isn't what I say.
No, I'm saying they're the Pittsburgh.
They're the
Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
I mean, they're a big brand.
Yeah, I mean, the killer bees are gone. There's one bee left, and he's horrible. So
the Giants playing the last 3 weeks are on Monday Night Football twice. They played a Thursday night already.
Why can't I get Zach Wilson or Mike White on Sunday Night Football? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. See, that's where we stop. That's where I want to see
Ty Johnson and the Michael Carter show on Sunday Night Football. That is what America wants to see.
I'm going to tell you right now, the ratings would tell you differently. If the Jets played a prime time,
Yeah, Thursday night, baby.
that's it.
Yeah.
And do they play a Monday night? Like, they're guaranteed a Thursday night and a Monday night.
Maybe. I don't know. They give them like one or the other. They've played their fair share of Monday night games. The Sam Darnold ghost game, that's fun.
They have to. They have no choice.
Yeah. Well, it's an agreement in terms of revenue sharing and everything like that. No, because it makes the teams a little money.
Oh, the Jets haven't played a Monday night. I thought Monday night was guaranteed.
No.
Thursday night is definitely guaranteed.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Patriots.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I'm going to say something that you may not agree with. I am very, very high on very high on this team. I mean, I think the Buffalo Bills were my Super Bowl prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they can really push the Bills here.
Mm-hmm.
Like that good. Like defense, running game, fantastic. Mac Jones is maturing. He's learning, and he's showing you he's not going to make mistakes. He's not going to turn the ball over. He could be a legit guy for them. And people were probably wrong. And special teams, and they're well coached. They have everything.
Well, I mean, the Patriots have had a bit of a weird year because we always will say, oh, well, they only lost to this team by this much and whatever. But, sometimes you're just like that, that doesn't matter how much you lose by. It matters who you beat, who you lose to, whatever. But when you look at their schedule, I mean, week 1, they lost to Miami in a 1-point game. But, week 1, we don't know what's going on. And they got a rookie quarterback making his NFL debut and whatever. But when you look at the rest of the schedule, I mean, that Bucs game, they almost won. They almost beat the Cowboys. They lost in overtime. They have a couple blowout wins in there, like the Browns and the Jets. And obviously the Jets are no impressive team, but they've
win by 40.
They've been in a roll lately. And we know the Patriots and how good Bill Belichick is and how that defense can play. And now that the offense is starting to come into its own, I could definitely see them making a push at the playoffs here. What you said, I disagree with. They're going to give the Bills a hard time. That's nonsense to me, honestly. That's not happening.
Why not? They play them twice in December.
I mean, come on. The Bills are about
fantastic.
To take the title as the best team in the AFC. Like, they are unbelievable, the Bills.
I think the Patriots are that good. I truly believe that.
Why, though? Come on. They've had a couple good wins, but they haven't had, a statement game where it's like, I mean, they blew out the Browns, but they haven't gone head to head with the Bills or the Ravens or someone like that and just been like, here's a win. We're here.
So you said that, they lost these close games and, the week 1 I'll even take out, but like, look at these close games and you realize what they're doing with a rookie quarterback. The game against the Bucs, like it's it was a tough game. You're at home. The weather conditions probably favored you. And there was a lot, it was an emotional game. You almost won that game with a rookie quarterback. I think with a rookie quarterback, you can look at it and the excuse, it's not like a moral victory. It's like, okay, we just need this guy to mature. And we're seeing Mac Jones get better and better and better each week. And this team, with the way they're able to run the ball, they're fantastic. I mean, the Browns have one of the best rushing defenses in the league. They're averaging 80 yards. The opponents are rushing about 80 yards on average against them. The Patriots ran for 190 yards on Sunday.
Right. Well,
it's fantastic.
I get it. I get where you're coming from with the whole thing. He's maturing and whatnot, but let's also not forget he's still a rookie. And I think there are still a couple more bumps in the road coming for him. I don't think he's just going to, every game he's getting better and better. By the time this season's done, he's going to be putting, having these unbelievable games. I don't see that happening. Like I said, I think the AFC, I think this wild card is open, obviously. Do they hold the spot right now?
They must.
They might. What are they, 5-4? Something like that.
6-4.
6-4. So yeah, they're playing well, but that whole thing, I don't think they're gonna give the Bills a hard time for this division. I think it's the Bills to lose, and I don't think they're gonna lose it.
Interesting. We'll see. Also, one more thing. Mac, has shown early in his career, he's not going to turn the ball over.
He didn't do it in college. He's very accurate. The Patriots have been turning teams over like crazy. They're always going to win the turnover battle, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
Let's see if they do hold the playoffs, but I think they do. Is there anything else we wanted to get to, though? They do.
I don't believe so. Rams lost a tough one on Monday Night Football.
Yeah, I think people need to chill out. Yeah, okay, maybe they were slightly overrated. They didn't really beat anybody crazy other than the Bucks, but listen.
I mean, how often do we see these teams fly through the year? And teams have bad games.
They're loaded. They're fantastic. They're talented. They'll be fine. Stafford's in a little bit of a slump. Not like too worried about him. I think I have to. This is a big bye week for them. This is huge.
Right. If they come out against Green Bay and get blown out, then all right, let's start worrying.
Right. Very quickly, Cam Newton back, good for him. Nothing more there.
Yeah.
The Giants and the Bucks. I mean, the Giants really want to play the Bucks off a bye. Off a loss. Oh boy.
But
yeah. But yeah. Sounds like that's it.
Mm-hmm. That's a great episode.
Great episode. We will talk to you guys next time. And yeah, that's it.